Getting to a hospital during an emergency can be difficult and dangerous, but one Coon Rapids family had to find a ride after midnight during the biggest blizzard of the year, all before their baby was born. 50 years later, this is how Merci found Merci.
I've never been in a bigger storm, and I've never seen cold and snow that much.
St. Patrick's Day of 1965 saw much more white than green. More than 11 inches of snow covered the streets of Coon Rapids.
There was nothing moving on the roads at all except snowplows. We weren't supposed to be on the roads even.
Coon Rapids police officer Butch Melton came home after work that night, but he and his wife Judy couldn't stay for long.
We could not drive out of our driveway. The street here in the front of the house had so much snow in it that it was impassable.
Judy had been at a friend's house playing cards.
When I left my neighbor's house, I kiddingly said to her, well, okay, I guess I'll go home and start labor.
But this was no joke.
And I was in the house for about an hour when Judy announced that she was in labor.
Butch and Judy had planned on going to North Memorial Hospital, but road conditions made that impossible. The next option was to find a doctor nearby to help deliver the baby.
I happened to think of Merci Hospital being almost ready to open. So we called Merci Hospital, and they answered the phone and said yes, they had kept a doctor and a nurse on hand just for this type of emergency. If we could get her to Merci, that they'd be able to take care of her.
Getting there wouldn't be easy.
So we had several plans, A, B, C, and D.
A city truck with a plow in front was their first choice, but the man with the keys was getting his Z's.
And he was on call. Well, they couldn't wake him up.
Butch had help coming in black and white squad cars, but they first had to battle the then white blacktop.
The first squad car came, and they got to the house, buried it right at the bottom of the driveway.
Another officer came here, and he thought he could go down our street. Well, he got halfway down our street, and he was stuck. So
plan C. I had just sold my pickup truck to Hutch on the police force, fellow officer, a few days before that. So I called Hutch up, and he was home. I asked him if he'd be able to throw some snow in the back end of that pickup truck and drive that over to our street, not getting too close, and see if he could walk into the house, and we'd walk her out to the pickup truck. In those days, every one of the officers, including myself, that were there had delivered babies before. So plan D would have been to have the baby right there at the house, but she wasn't going to hear of that. And we walked down 3 houses and got on the highway, and the only other vehicle was the snowplow. And I remember he had to use his hand to wipe the snow away from the windshield. It was 1 hour later that we arrived at their emergency room. That's how long it took us to get there, getting stuck, getting out. Tom Matson, the administrator, was at the hospital to greet us, and Dr. Romero, and then 2 nurses.
The Meltons made it to Merci.
I think it was 3:30 in the morning when we got there.
She wasn't born until about 6:20 in the morning.
And Merci met them.
The nurse came in and said, Mrs. Melton, I hope you realize that we already have your baby's name picked out.
Butch and Judy had picked out the name Janine for a baby girl, but that plan changed too.
And we said, so what is the name? And she said, Merci Patricia. And that's when it really first dawned on us. It was the first baby being born there. And I said, well, I'd agree to that, but Mercy's name has to end in an I rather than a Y. So it worked out beautifully that she became Merci Janine. Merci was born, we all got happy and celebrated. And of course, Hutch was Mercy's godfather.
People ask about my name, so then I have to tell the story.
Today, Merci DeRusha still remembers how the community embraced her as their new hospital's first baby.
It was really a major celebration. It was good news. It was special. It was unique.
She got presents, and my goodness, she got all kinds of gifts.
The family couldn't celebrate for long.
Well, she had spinal meningitis when she was still a baby there. And I forget how old she was. I don't think she was a year old. Anyhow, we put her at Merci Hospital. She was in a coma for 13 days. Actually, her little heart stopped, and the doctor injected adrenaline directly into her heart and got her heart going again. And she survived. But when it come time to take her home, I owed them more money than the insurance. The insurance wasn't very good for cops then. And so I went down to Tom Manson and says, I owe you. Told him I owe you $2,500. I'll have to work it off. So I started driving ambulance that night. And it took me 3 years, but I got the hospital paid back.
Merci Hospital soon saw its own challenges.
May of 1965, there's several tornadoes that go through southern Anoka County across the metro area, but it's really where Merci became known in the community because lots of people there were major tornadoes and lots of damage and entire neighborhoods just destroyed and people injured, and over 100 people, I think 115 or something like that, were treated at Merci, and 20 or 25 of them had to stay there, and I think one person died at Merci from injuries from the tornado. So it was a major event.
Both Mercies recovered, and although they're not Irish, the two had reason to celebrate every St. Patrick's Day together.
The first 10 years of Mercy's life, she had a birthday party there every year.
I mean, when I was little, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get a tricycle or something like that. I suppose it didn't dawn on me how big of a deal it was till I was older.
Merci was seen in parades and papers for years to come. Her connection grew even stronger when she gave birth to her own daughter at Merci Hospital.
I felt like I could understand what my mom had gone through because the news, it was a big story because now the hospital became generational.
50 years after battling the blizzard, Mercy's parents say they wouldn't have had it any other way.
Mercy's name fits her very well. Merci. I don't think I can. She has so much compassion for other people.
Very proud to have been a part of it. Very proud. I'm very proud of my daughter. And I'm very proud of Merci and how she's gone through the different things in her life, and it's hard to believe that she's going to be 50 years old. Just think how old that makes me.
Although not all their memories over the past 5 decades there are good ones, Butch, Judy, and Merci say they appreciate that special connection they'll always have with Merci Hospital.
Well, I love to tell the nurses there, you know who I am? I'm the father of Merci.
Whether they were good memories or bad memories, it was our family hospital. It was our generational hospital and still is to this day.
It's been there for us. It's been there for the community. And it's kind of like half ours. Because there's Merci, M-E-R-C-Y, and then there's Merci, M-E-R-C-I. And it'll always stay that way.
Merci lives in Mound and has 2 children and 2 grandchildren of her own. Her parents have since divorced and remarried, but still go to Merci Hospital. The hospital is planning on inviting them to their grand opening of their Mother Baby Center opening this summer.